All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Nadzrin. We're going to have a good, interesting 1-hour session together. Before we kick it off, I would like to see everyone. So if you are decent, then I want you to turn on your webcams for just a couple of minutes so that I get to see who's in the room. Lilibeth, hi. I can see your windows, but I can't see you. So if you're on a laptop, you might want to pull the screen forward a little bit.
Oh,
so we can see
yeah.
now you can see.
Sorry.
Hi, Lina. Hi, Rachna. Nicholas, first time we've met, I think. Or am I pronouncing that wrong? Is it Nicholas? The way the English pronounce it? Sopon Volyak, did I get that right? Wutan, I can't tell because I'm still learning about Cambodian names. I can't tell which is your first and your last name. Wutan, is that right? No? Okay, your mic is off. Emily, have we met? Or have you?
Wutan is my first name.
So Wutan is your first name. Okay, Emily, have we met or have you only been to the webinars? Because your name sounds familiar. Oh, Emily's still on the microphone. All right, so here's what I want you to do and why I want your webcams on. Show me your palms. All right, so if you're on your phone, you want to put your phone down. Show me your palms. On your left hand, give me a 2 like this. Thumb and forefinger. On your right hand, give me a 4 like this. Okay, now we're going to do a bit of exercise this morning to warm us up, warm our brains up. When I say switch, I want you to change this 2 into a 4 and change this 4 into a 2. Okay? Ready? Here we go. Switch. 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 All right, not bad. Let's go to gear 2. Here's gear 2. Ready? Switch. 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 Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Okay, let's go gear 3. Ready? Here we go. Switch. 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 Okay, I can see people burning out. Okay, give yourselves a round of applause.
You're hurting my hand right now.
If you are a trainer, you've probably seen this before, you know what this is about. But with every activity that we do, there's a meaning behind it. And people who, when they come into, when changes happen, for example, we never expected 2020 to be like this, right? We had plans, we had a lot of plans. Some of us are actually stuck in a different country, cannot go home. Some of us are stuck without income. Some of us are stuck without many, many things. So what has it got to do with our session today? Well, today's session is about virtually facilitating learning online. And if you are a trainer or a teacher or a lecturer, you will find that now what you're used to is no longer the same. And if you go back 10, 15 years, or maybe 20 years, if some of you are young enough to remember, put up your hand if you know what this means. Overhead projector, OHP. Who knows what this word means? Tina has a hand, Lilibeth has a hand, Nicholas has his hand up. Overhead projector, OHP. Now, for those people who gave me this look, I want you to go Google it, right? OHP or overhead projector. This is what happened to a lot of trainers and lecturers and teachers in the 1990s when we started transitioning from OHP to PowerPoint. People were complaining, why is it so difficult? Why must we use a computer and all of this stuff? This is so complex, right? You have to fix everything. OHP is just easy, right? I have my slides, and just if anybody is wondering where the word slides come from in PowerPoint, it actually comes from the overhead projector film. Right? It's just a clear film with printed text on it, and sometimes even lecturers can write on it. So as they're projecting or as they're lecturing, they can actually make changes on the spot. Now, a lot of people couldn't transition, or they couldn't change in time, or they were scared to change, or they complained. And what happened to them? They got left behind. Now, we are comfortable doing face-to-face training. We're comfortable doing classroom training. And then COVID happens, and we're forced to change. So my question is, I am sure you have friends like this. Instead of changing, they complain. Instead of changing, they complain. Because why? Oh, it's not the same. It will never be the same. It's not as effective. It's not as efficient. Well, this is what my teacher tells me. Don't worry about what you cannot do. Focus instead on what you can do. So today we'll be talking about virtual facilitation, which is teaching online. There are many things that you can do in a classroom that you cannot do online. That is true. But there's also many things that you can do in a virtual classroom that you cannot do in a physical classroom. I'll give you one example, right? Everyone type into the text chat right now where you were born. I'll give you 5 seconds. Type into the text chat where you were born. Ready, set, go. Not when, Lilybeth, but where. 3, 2, 1. Okay, stop. Now, my question. What you have now in the text chat is a documentation of where everyone was from. If I had asked the question, what is your opinion on COVID-19? Tell me in 20 words or less in the text chat. I'll give you 1 minute, ready, go. No, that's not instruction. That was an example. Then you have all of the people in the room. How many people do we have in the room? We have 28 people. You have 28 opinions. Can you do that in a classroom and actually save time? You can't. You cannot survey 28 people. But what you can do here is so many things that you cannot do in a classroom, and vice versa. So there's always pros and cons. When you have to transition to a virtual classroom, my teacher says, don't worry about what you cannot do. Focus on what you can do. And then you will create an environment where it is engaging and interesting for people to learn. Here's one more thing that we've discovered about virtual learning. Introverts, if you know the term, introverts versus extroverts, introverts love it. They love it for a couple of reasons. Number one, they get to ask private questions to the instructor via a private chat. Number two, they are in a safe space. They're in their homes or they're in their chairs. They don't have to sit next to someone who's loud. And if you've seen, e-learning or virtual learning has actually boomed in these last few months, simply because people get to study wherever they want. And there are, like I said, many things. They don't have to travel. They don't have to, park the car and stuff like that. So there are quite a lot of benefits here. Let's focus on what we can do, right? Not worry about what we cannot do. Thank you very much for sharing your webcams. We are going to move on to the next part where I ask you a question, okay? But before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Nadzrin. I will not spend too much time telling you about myself. I was born in Malaysia. I do about a quarter of my work in Cambodia. I am trying to be fluent in Khmer, but my language and Malay language are pretty similar. It's just some of the grammatical structures not the same. We share similar words. Your bong is my abang. Your tong samram is my tong sampah. I think we share mak, mother. Bapa, we don't share that. I think you call it pa. So we have quite a lot of similar words that we share. So I've been trying to learn, doing my best. But now that I cannot go back to Cambodia, I find myself learning just online here. I've been coming to Cambodia since 2017. I am part of the capacity specialist. And my role to help you today is to introduce you to virtual learning facilitation. This is not going to be a deep dive. This is going to be an awareness level topic. So just to get that awareness, here's what I want you to do. I want you to type into the text chat, what are your worries about online learning or virtual learning or teaching online? What is the one that's keeping you awake? Like, oh, if I have to teach online, this will be the problem. This will be the problem. So share everything with us in the text chat. I'm going to mute my webcam. I'm going to mute my microphone for 3 minutes. All right. So type into the text chat now. As the answers start coming in, I will read them out. And if we find anything interesting, then we will be able to pull out and ask you to share with us. All right, here we go. Students don't have internet connection. Good. Tina says, keeping the interest going, ensuring the online class are fully engaged. Sophia says, new staff are not familiar how to use Zoom. all right, internet connection, poor connection. Cannot use participatory methodology to make interactive activities, okay? Using facilitating tools. Lose interaction. How to make sure students follow lessons actively and don't hide themselves behind the screen, okay? How to use whiteboard. All right, any more? Let's count this down. 5, 4, 3, 2. Here we go. How to divide into groups. Any more? No idea about technology. Well, somebody has an idea. They've drawn on my slide. Okay, guys, here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to go through all of the questions before we actually come into the webinar, which might make the webinar a bit longer if you're okay with it. Let's kick this off. First off, Emily, students don't have internet connection. I agree. We have that issue here as well in Malaysia. So if they don't have any internet connection at all, that's nothing we can help with. In Malaysia, we have some very rural areas where teachers actually have gone to send homework, physically gone to send homework by boat or by you know, sampan, a little watercraft. So if there's no internet connection whatsoever, then we cannot even talk about virtual facilitation. It's impossible. You need to have that connection. So Emily, if that's not, then you want to consider something else. Distance learning, you want to consider posting someone into that area, but you cannot do virtual facilitation, I apologize. Tina says, keeping the interest going, ensuring that the online class are fully engaged. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but basically, the teacher is the one who engages, not the session, not the tools, it is the teacher. So you must have the ability to quickly engage them. Now, if I were to give you a tip, human attention span nowadays is about 3 to 1 minutes, which means every 3 minutes or every 1 minute, you must shift to a different topic. You must shift to something else. Second thing is give a lot of breaks. Give a lot of downtime where they don't have to interact with the instructor. Sophia says, new staff are not familiar with how to use Zoom. Agreed. So what I normally do is, if I know for a fact that the students or the participants don't know how to use it, what I do is I have a week 1. So if it's a long class, I'm running a certification program right now, which is 4 weeks long. And week 1 is fully dedicated to get them to understand the tools that they're going to use, which is Zoom, Google Classroom, and WhatsApp. So we familiarize them with it first. For example, remember when we joined university, there was that first week where we didn't learn anything. It was orientation. So provide an orientation program, whether it be 1 hour or half a day, whatever you need to be able to get them to that level. Plus, students don't actually need to know more about Zoom than the instructor. The instructor or the facilitator has to know more. All the students need to know is how to log on. That's it. Okay, so that's primary there. Lekina says internet connection. So everyone who said internet connection, if it is from the service provider, then I cannot help you there. But if you're using Wi-Fi, here's my recommendation. Do not use Wi-Fi because Wi-Fi is very temperamental. What I recommend you use instead is a LAN cable. A lot of us, when we transitioned to Wi-Fi, we thought, wow, such high technology. Well, LAN cables are still better. They still transfer more data faster and they don't drop as much. So if anybody's using Wi-Fi and complaining about poor connection, try this first. Use a LAN cable. For example, my router is actually downstairs. My workstation is upstairs in my bedroom. I have a 20-meter long LAN cable that snakes all the way downstairs when I need to use it. So you have a couple of options. One of them is contact your ISP, your internet service provider, and see if they can do anything about it. Number 2 is to actually try a LAN cable. And a cheap LAN cable will work as well. Okay. So everyone who said poor connection, 2 things. If it has to do with your ISP, go connect with them. In Malaysia, we have a government body that responds to complaints about technology. So a lot of my friends, when they have really bad coverage in their area, they just call this body up. complain to them, and usually within a week, it figures itself out. So the ISPs don't want to be shut down. They have to maintain a level of quality. I don't know if that's the same over there. You want to try it over there, okay? Voton, he says, cannot use participatory methodologies to make interactive activities. Well, Voton, I can show you a few examples that are third-party software you can use. Okay, remind me to do that because it's not built into this. Prom says using facilitating tools. Well, tools as well as you. You are the teacher, you are the facilitator. Okay. Lina says lose interaction between students and facilitator. Okay, we'll talk about that. Nicholas says how to make sure students follow the lessons actively and don't hide behind their screen. Well, here's the thing. Everyone, please tell me if you can hear me. If you can hear me well, tell me yes. Type in yes, please. All right. So now what's going to happen is Marani is going to count to make sure that there's 26 yeses, so we know who's there. And what I normally do is I call on certain students. I say, okay, so Lilibeth, what do you think about this? And then Lilibeth goes, oh no, he's calling on me. Just like what's happening right now. She goes, oh, what's happening? So if you do that very early in your session and you inform them that, oh, my teacher is going to randomly call on me. And if I don't answer, my teacher will know that I'm not there. So that way you get to understand who is interacting, who is not. And right now, we can see that everyone is here. just with a yes or no. Okay, let's take a look. Anywhere else? Not able to interact with people? Well, we're interacting right now. Use the webcam. If they are shy to use their webcam, use your webcam first. When you are going through text or the slides, then you don't need to use your webcam as much. Potira says no real practice, passive interaction. Okay, we will talk about that. Basically, online in virtual class, you don't want to give them too complex activities. You want to give them simple activities. You keep the complex activities for assignments offline. And I'll tell you a little bit later how I do this. I use 3 different tools. I use Zoom for the virtual class. I use WhatsApp or Telegram for the Q&A, which is 24/7. They can ask anytime. And Google Classroom to store all of the materials. Now, these are simple because it's cheap. I can go for the expensive learning management systems, but I prefer to keep it cheap. Okay, Lexmay says, I worry about how to control participants while training. I would like to invite you to shift a little bit from controlling to collaborating, to engaging, to getting them interested. So instead of controlling the students, have them participate with you. Give them something interesting to see, something interesting to listen to, something interesting to do. Prom says how to use whiteboard, how to divide the groups. Okay, this is more of a technical question regarding Zoom, but we'll talk about that later. Tepi says no idea about technology. Well, this is the change time, so we have to learn. And Tepi, feel free to reach out to me later on if you need a bit more of an answer. Mono says, what I'm worried about during e-learning are internet speed, control, participation. Okay, I've covered a little bit of that. Virtual classroom management, yes, covered that as well. Rose Hyun, quality. I don't know what you mean by quality. What does that mean? Lina says, dealing with extrovert who doesn't like this platform. Yep, I love those as well. Extroverts tend to do better in WhatsApp. So you'll find that they're like, yeah, hi guys, there was a fantastic class today. So we can talk about that a bit later as well. Prom says, I experienced it at my work. I'm not sure what you mean. Okay, let's see if there are any more questions. Refer to students, they have less idea about technology. Well, the answer is we need to prep them. We need to give them a way to better understand it. So what I recommend is, of course, making sure that you give them time to learn. Time to learn, meaning, of course, a preparation or an orientation. Okay? So I hope I've answered all of your questions so that you don't worry too much as we go into this. But each and every one of your questions, if you notice, they concern one of these 3 things. Number 1 is the tools, what you actually use. This is not you. These are the tools. Number 2 is teacher, which is you. Okay? And number 3 is technique, what you use to teach. So let's go through one by one. For those of you who are already expert, I apologize, I'm going through this. But basically, if you want to teach online, you need to have 4 types of tools. The first tool is, of course, a live meeting or video conferencing tool, because you need to have something that is synchronous. Synchronous means I'm here, you're there, we are learning, we're teaching at the same time. Asynchronous means that you are not at the same time, you're self-studying. You are watching a recording. Number 2 is a material repository. If we were in a real life classroom, we could give them workbooks, we could give them notebooks, we could give them, props and things like that. But online, how do we give this to them? So you need to have a dedicated website, or you need to have a dedicated space where you can dump all of the PDFs, all of the books there, so that they come in, they can download, they can answer questions, they can submit assignments. So you need to have that repository. Number 3 is engagement tools. So somebody was saying, how to engage them? We need to be able to get them to participate and stuff. Last one is what I call a quick response or Q&A tool. So imagine this, right? You say, okay, I send an email. Okay, everybody, let's see you in our virtual class at 8 a.m. Okay, we'll see you there. Here's the link. And you put in a wrong link, for example. And 8 a.m., you notice nobody is in the class. What's happening? So you send off an email to them. Now, email today is like snail mail of the past. Nobody opens them. Nobody opens them on time. But what do people open on time? WhatsApp or Telegram. Okay? So you need to have a quick response tool where, how come nobody's in the class at 8 a.m.? You go into WhatsApp and says, hi guys, I'm already in the class. Are you in here? No, sir, we're here waiting for you in another class. Oh, I'm so sorry. Here's the new link. So you can manage crises, you can manage emergencies. One of my friends was teaching using Facebook Live, and then Facebook Live just had problems. And he went into WhatsApp group. He says, very calmly, very relaxed, guys, it looks like Facebook is not cooperating with us today. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's do a WhatsApp call. I'm going to continue the class over WhatsApp. Very calmly, transition and continued. When you panic as a teacher, that's when your students see, how to do this, and your students panic with you. So stay in control, do not panic, relax, and decide fast. The worst case scenario I've ever had was postponing a class. Actually postponing a class, and I said, but very calmly says, thank you very much everyone for coming today. Unfortunately, we will not be able to run our class today. So I'm postponing it to Wednesday. Thank you very much. So you actually have 2 more extra days for your assignments. We'll see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye, everyone. Like that. Very clearly, very quickly, very confidently. Because if you don't have control of yourself, you will not be able to control your class. Okay. So let's go through the types, the options that we have. We have MS Teams. A lot of companies prefer MS Teams because of security. We have Skype, which I shouldn't put this here anymore because it's falling out of favor. Nobody uses Skype as much as before. We have Zoom. We're doing it right now. We also have WebEx, W-E-B-E-X. Maradi, if you can help me out to type in the names of these tools, especially the ones that are not familiar, into the text chat for our friends, that would be very helpful. WebEx is similar to Zoom. If you use Zoom before, you look at WebEx, the functionalities are very similar. Now, there's a new tool that I have not added. I just found it yesterday. I don't remember its name. It's come out from India and it's free. And it has all of the functionalities of Zoom. It will be released next month, I believe. It was created by a philanthropist. I don't know how to pronounce that word. By a rich guy who decided in this time of crisis, we need a dependable video conferencing tool, and is giving it away for free. So I don't know how long that will be, but his track record shows that he has given a lot of things for free for many, many years. So maybe I'll add that on. But this slide will change over time because there are so many tools coming up. There are so many tools dying. Yeah, there's so many tools disappearing. You have now Google Meet, which is a good alternative because it's free. It's totally free and anybody can sign up for it. So another one is Google Meet, which I have not added on the slide. That was recent. Material repository. Where is this website that you can use? Well, you can go as simple as Google Drive. You can go as simple as OneDrive and then give access to your students to go in there. But what I would recommend is something called Google Classroom. Okay, tell me in the text chat, me, Who knows what Google Classroom is? Tina, you say I was on a new platform called GoToWebinar. It's not new. It's actually quite old. It's actually about 3 or 4 years old. So in the text chat, who knows Google Classroom? Type in me. Who does not know? Type in no. All right. Do you know why I'm doing the survey? To know whether I can skip talking about this or not. And it looks like there are quite a few people who say no. So for those who said yes, I apologize. I'm just going to go through very quickly. Google Classroom is a free classroom learning management system. Very simple, very clean. But so simple, so clean, you cannot put in your own banners, you cannot put in your own photos or things like that. But it's very well structured. So if you type in Google Classroom, you can, with a Gmail account, a free Gmail account, you can open up your own Google Classroom, you can set up your own classes in there. And for me, my experience is this is the easiest, this is the cheapest. You also have MS Teams, which you can use as a repository. You can use it as to store all of your files where the participants can go and grab it from. There's another one called Open Learning from Australia, very popular in Malaysia with teachers and lecturers and trainers. Open Learning primarily is a learning management system for universities. If you think Coursera, right? Tell me in the text chat, who knows, who has heard these words? Coursera, Udemy, Skillshare. Yes, yes, yes. No, no. Okay. So these are learning management systems. They are platforms where you can go in and you can learn courses online. But us as trainers, us as facilitators, we can actually go in and create those courses for students to learn from us as well. So Open Learning is the cheapest one out there. It is at 100 ringgit, which is $30 a month for up to 250 students. And it has all of the functionalities of video. You can put in video, you can put in PDFs, you can put in quizzes, you can put in conditional release exams. What is a conditional release exam? Students have to answer questions, and if they don't get the required score, they cannot move on to the next module. Okay? And some people say, but they'll take 2 or 3 times and they'll cheat. Yes. So they also have a question bank. Let's just say the exam is 10 questions. You can put in 100 questions or 200 questions. And every time they take the test, they will not get the same questions. It becomes randomized. So if they fail the test once, they take another test. Of course, it will not be the exact same test. Okay? So we have Google Classroom. We have MS Teams. We have Open Learning. And Open Learning is openlearning.com. One of my other favorites, if you are running a very short course, like say a 1-day or 2-day course, is called Padlet. Okay, and Padlet I've actually put into, it should be in material repository and engagement. So go and look up Padlet. It's a very, very simple tool that you can use, but the free version only gives you 3 pads. What does it look like? It looks like a post-it note online. And you can actually have many, many post-its onto that screen. Your students can also create post-its. They can also have their own pads there. Okay. So in terms of the engagement tool, tell me who knows Kahoot at least. Yes, yes, no? Okay. So Kahoot is an engagement tool that is like a quiz. It has music, it has colors, and how you can do it is you can set up the questions and you give your students a link and they can go live while you're teaching. They can go and they can answer those questions. They can compete amongst each other, and they can also appear on a leaderboard. Which student got fastest answer? Which student got most correct answer? So who's leading, who's not leading? And then we have Mentimeter, which is the next one. So after Kahoot is Mentimeter. All right. And then in the Q&A, we have, well, I have the WhatsApp and I have Telegram. You can also put in WeChat, that's also useful. Okay, Ask me your questions now. What questions do you have? If you have no questions, type in no. If you have questions, type in the question now. All right. Do you notice me doing this? If you have no questions, type in no. Why? Why do I do this? Well, this is one way you manage the class, because imagine this. Okay, everyone, what questions? Do you have any questions? And both of us just look at each other until it dawns on the trainer, oh, no questions, okay, I shall move on. So what you do is you ask them to tell you, if you have no questions, give me a no or an N. N for Nadzrin, and I know to move on. That saves a lot more time. Okay, so it looks like there is one question. When you say Q&A, you mean during the class instead of using the chat function? I mean after the class. I mean before class, and I mean after class. Why? Because the virtual class, sometimes people can attend, sometimes people cannot attend, they're only watching the recording. And some people learn fast, so they have questions. So I have questions. Some people learn slowly. After the class, they have questions. My recommendation, when you do a virtual class, minimize the number of questions. Right? Today is not a virtual class. Today is more of an awareness building webinar. So I'm attending to all questions because I'll never see you again. Or I might not see you again. I don't have a WhatsApp group with you. So my recommendation, virtual class, do your best to keep the questions minimized, and then tell them, ask in the text chat, ask in the WhatsApp group, and I will answer that later. Okay, Priscilla, I hope that answers the question. Lina says there are a lot of tools here. I'm wondering how we make sure learners are familiar with all these. My suggestion, use 1 or 2 tools throughout your course. So if it is a 1-hour course, I wouldn't recommend you use tools. I'm going to show you today how I don't use tools at all, and we can still keep it engaging. Number 2, if you're running a longer course, then put that into the beginning, which is the orientation. Get them to familiarize themselves with your tools. But don't use too many. I'd say 3 maximum throughout that course. My courses tend to be about 1 month long because I want them to do assignments in between. It sounds like a lot of time, but actually it flies by very fast. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so it looks like there's no more questions. Let's move on to engaging. Now, based on my experience and from my teachers teaching me, I've been doing this since 2011. I've made so many mistakes. I have discovered that there is a recommended line, and I've been testing this again and again. It works very, very well. How do you engage your students? You engage your students from before the class starts. You know how some people say, how do you educate a good child? Before they are born, right? Have them listen to music, always talk to them, you know, give them good food. Mother must eat good food, have good nutrition, things like that. So the same thing happens for our students as well, our class as well. You want to build in a section before the class starts, before the course starts, and make it as part of the course. So when I do a 1-week course that starts Monday to Friday, I usually start 2 days before that. So either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, Sunday. And I get them to introduce themselves. I get them to practice with the tools. I get them to go into Google Classroom. We do a treasure hunt inside Google Classroom, things like that. So get them familiarized. When I do a 1-month course, I usually do it a 1 week before. Right now, I am running a 4-week course, and this is week 1. Today is Thursday, right? So Thursday, I give them 4 tasks. I give them 4 tasks to complete. Monday was task 1, which was introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you want to learn, and why you want to learn it. And what happens is people are like, oh, okay, oh, that person also wants to learn the same thing I am, so I don't feel so bad. I don't feel like I'm not smart enough, because there are a lot of people wanting to learn the same thing. Okay, so it creates comfort, it creates safety for everyone. And as teachers, as trainers, as lecturers, you know what I'm talking about when I say create a safe learning environment. What is a safe learning environment? It is the environment where students are willing and they feel safe enough to ask questions. No such thing as a silly question. I don't know about Cambodia, but in Malaysia, we have a problem. When I was a child, and even when my kids are going to school, children in school don't want to put up their hands to answer a question because they are worried the answer is wrong. I don't know if this resonates with you. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you can tell me in the text chat. They don't want to put their hands up because they are afraid the answer will be wrong. Because we've created in Malaysia, in the education industry or the education world, the feeling, the environment that you cannot answer how you want to answer. You have to answer only the correct answers. So what happens is students are scared to try. So they don't put their hands up. So what happens in Malaysia? In school, they were like that. In university, they were like that. In the office, they are like that. Boss says, okay, who has any ideas? Nobody puts their hand up. Why? Because they're afraid of getting scolded. They're afraid of getting laughed at. They are just afraid of many things, which means that it's an unsafe environment. I'm going to go off on a tangent a little bit. If your boss, let's put the onus on you. If you are chairing a meeting and people are not giving ideas, ask yourself, have you made it a safe environment for them to share ideas? Have you made it a safe environment for them to disagree with you? And if the answer is no, then we must fix that. Number two, as a parent, if your child cannot tell you the truth because they're scared of being scolded, or they're scared of repercussions, of punishment, then you have not created a safe environment for them to be honest with you. Yes, there will be punishment, but tell me the truth. I want to know the truth. I will celebrate you there. Trainers also have this problem. We have done this. We have created an environment. Oh, no, that's a wrong answer. That was a silly answer, man. And these people no longer put their hands up. So in this environment, whenever somebody asks a question inside the WhatsApp group, celebrate them. Thank you for that question. I was actually waiting for that question to come up. So because you have asked that question, I can now answer it for everyone. How does it make you feel? All right, guys, ask me any questions you have. Number two is vulnerability. I don't know whether this will be well accepted everywhere, but vulnerability is showing that you are not perfect. You as a trainer, oh, really? I did not know that. Thank you for sharing that with me, you say to your participant. And your participant goes, oh, I actually taught my trainer something. So this 1 week is very important. Guys, I'm looking you right in the eyes right now. I'm saying this based on experience, based on my teacher's experience. If you get this right, this orientation before the class starts, if you get this right, 80% of your problems disappear. 80% of your engagement issues, your don't want to put their hand up issues will disappear because they feel that you appreciate them. So appreciate all questions, appreciate all answers. Basically, if I were to give you a tip, treat them as students the way you would like to be treated when you were a student or when you are a student in any class. So remember that and then celebrate them. Okay, you want to write these words down. Celebrate them. What does celebrate mean? Say, welcome to class. Thank you for coming in. I see that you came in early. Thank you for coming in early. And then appreciate them. Say thank you. Don't overdo it, of course. But what the idea is, make it a safe environment for them to ask, to answer. Sometimes you will get the extroverts like making jokes here and there. So you can manage them by saying, oh, thank you for that. That was a funny joke. Tell you what, put that into the WhatsApp group later so that we can finish our class on time today. Okay, thank you for your help. And they go like, okay, I'll keep it down. And if it happens 2 or 3 times, you can personally text them in the Zoom chat and say, I need your help, right? We're running out of time, so I need to really focus. Can you please not make any jokes so far? We can have those jokes in WhatsApp group. And if you build a good, strong relationship before the class started, then they will be glad to help you out. Yeah? All right. Rose says, even wrong answer. What is a wrong answer? You don't say that's correct. You say, thank you for that. Let me explain to you how this is. Okay, so without saying wrong or no, don't validate the answer. If they give a wrong answer, say thank you for that answer. Let me explain to you what it is. Yeah? If you want to use, let me explain to you what it actually is, also can. But I've seen some faces change before. So I've stopped using the word actually. I say thank you for that answer. Thank you for the answer, because they took a risk to answer, right? Think about you, even at 30 years old, at 40 years old right now, 50 years old right now, if we still have that, I don't want to answer. If we still have that, then we are a product of an environment that we grew up in. And we don't want our students, we don't want our participants to suffer through that as well. Tepi says, my students enjoy chatting on personal things but never reply when we give the assignment. Yep, that could be an issue as well. So what you do is focus more on this orientation, right? What I've discovered is all of these issues, a lot of these issues disappear when you have a good, strong rapport with them. There's some French people here, I apologize for the mispronunciation of the word. If you have a good, strong bond with them before the course starts, you will get more commitment, not compliance, but more commitment. So try that out first. Okay, so this has been my experience, whether it's been teaching students in university, students in school, or public participants from corporate, right? Get this done, and a lot of your problems disappear. Number two is, while that happens in that 7 days, I give them things to do in Google Classroom, which means I give them activities for them to familiarize themselves with Google Classroom. Since Google Classroom is our classroom, they need to know where everything is. They need to know how to submit assignments. They need to know how to upload PDFs and upload links, upload YouTube videos that they've recorded, things like that. If I give you an analogy, when I went to university, the first thing they did to us, well, not to us, the first thing that they did with us was they had us go on a treasure hunt. Now, I realized that Cambodia might not have the same word. What do you call a treasure hunt over there? Does anybody know what a treasure hunt is? Give me a yes or no. I need to double check because I might be using jargon here. Aha. Okay, so no. Think of it like this, right? I put you into teams and I say, here's a clue. Go and find the next clue. It's somewhere within Phnom Penh. So you have to travel and you find that the clue leads you to, say, I don't know, Aeon 1. And at Aeon 1, you find a second clue. And then that clue leads you to Aeon 2. And that clue leads you to all of the other places. So this is what we call a treasure hunt, or what the Americans call, I think, a scavenger hunt. Okay, so I hope you got that idea. So when I joined my university, the first week was not learning, well, we didn't have classes. They gave us a treasure hunt. So what we had to do was we had to run around the campus in our teams to find where were these places, where were these next clues were hiding. And at each point, there was a person who we call a checkpoint, who would give you the next clue if you can solve a particular puzzle. What happened was, we went to the medical center, the clinic. We went to admissions and records. We went to student affairs. We went to the lecturers' rooms. We went to the classrooms. We went to the lecture rooms. We went to auditoriums. We went everywhere. By the end of the treasure hunt, we were familiar with the campus. So the campus was big, but by the end of the treasure hunt, we were all familiar with the campus. And that was amazing because it was a quick way. Instead of giving a briefing, imagine sitting there. Okay, everyone, welcome to our university. Over here, you see on the map, this is where the clinic is. And over here is admissions and records. No, they gave us an experience instead. So what you want to do is give them the experience in Google Classroom or inside your material repository to find where everything is. What I like to do is I had pictures of cats. I love cats. So I will hide pictures of cats inside Google Classroom, and they have to go and find the correct cat. The cats look similar. They're all the same color, but I'm looking for only one particular cat. Yeah. So Chantola says, my vocational training school is always do that for the first week. See, it's something you do to familiarize them so that they feel comfortable, they feel safe, they feel like they own the place. So once you feel that, you know, you can say, okay, submit assignments like this. You don't actually have to teach them anymore. All right. Next, we have, before the class starts, before the virtual class starts, my classes tend to be at about 9 p.m. at night. 9 p.m. in Malaysia is about 8 p.m. for you. I do this usually for professionals, because professionals in the daytime, they don't have much time. So when they come for public class that they paid for themselves, they prefer night class because they can focus. It's after dinner, the kids are asleep, they can concentrate. So about 8:30, So class is 9 p.m. Yeah? At 8:30, I go onto WhatsApp and say, hey, everyone, tonight we're going to have a fantastic class. We're going to talk about this and this and this. I do a bit of marketing. Okay, who's going to be joining us tonight? Say I. And then somebody goes, I. 4 people, I. And when it comes to 4, I say, fantastic. So it'll just be 5 of us tonight. The rest will be watching the recording. Is that correct? And then more people go, I. No, I'll be coming. And what that does is peer pressure, right? They go, oh, Nadzrin actually wants an answer because he wants to know how many people are coming. So I repeat the process again. Okay, we have 20 people tonight. That's fantastic. So the 21 of us will be having a lot of fun. And then more people say, I. This is how you manage. There is always a human element. One of my teachers, Laurie Figueredo, also with TCS, also with the capacity specialist, she says that the more you digitalize, like we're teaching online right now, the more you digitalize, the more you have to humanize. The human aspect cannot disappear. It must be ramped up even more because there's no face-to-face interaction. Because I'm talking to a camera right now. I can't even see you. I'm talking to a camera. I'm just looking at a black hole right now. But I imagine you're there. And I want you to understand. I want to help you to learn and understand. So when you humanize more and people hear the tone of your voice, they see your face as you teach, then it becomes more engaging for them. Okay? That being said, there are several ways you can do this. You can use a webcam when you are teaching awareness level topics, something for them to be aware of. But once you start transitioning in things for them to know, you need them to focus on the slides and listen to your voice. They cannot process 3 things at the same time. See slides, see your face, listen to voice. So mute the webcam, especially when there's a lot of things on the slide to talk about. I know some people say that, oh, minimize your bullet points and things like that. Well, in some cases, for very technical subjects, you can't actually use that principle. You can use it for soft skills. You can use it for things that are very awareness level. But when you get to very technical details, sometimes the slide needs to have a lot of things and you reveal a bit at a time. So you want to minimize distraction. One of those distractions is your face. Turn off your webcam when you're doing very technical things. And last but not least, do not run complex activities. Run very simple activities during the virtual class. Keep the complex activities for the Google Classroom, for the material repository. Why? Because they'll be struggling through it and they can ask questions inside the WhatsApp group. All right. Before we continue to the third one, which is techniques, please ask me your questions now. What questions do you have? All right, I'm waiting. If you have no questions, type in an N for Nadzrin. Okay, Sophia says, when we train the courses to the same positions, attendees like the trainer, when you say same position, Sophia, do you mean peer? That means you are manager, you're teaching manager as well. Is that what you're saying? Peer, okay. The best method is facilitation. Facilitation is not teacher. Teacher means I know more than you. Okay, you're not going to get very far with adults like that. So what you do is facilitation, and you use a lot of words like discover, you use a lot of words like explore. All right, everybody, today we're going to be talking about persuasion skills. So let's discover together, let's explore what's the best way to do this. All right, everybody in your teams, I'm going to give you a task to complete. Okay, task number 1 is, what is your definition of persuasion? I'm going to give you 3 minutes to discuss. Ready? Go. And then type into the text chat when you're done. So I hope that answers the question, Sophia. You want to use a facilitation mode more than a teaching mode, especially in 2020 now, right? Everybody has their own experience. Everybody has their own knowledge that they bring to class. So use more facilitator mode. Facilitator mode uses more questions, does not assume that the audience does not know anything. You say things like, thank you very much for coming, everyone. I love that you have a lot of work experience, which means that this class is going to be so much more interesting because I want you to share your stories. I want you to share your experiences. I want you to share your knowledge with everyone in the class. My job today is to help you discover what are some of the best techniques to persuade people. All right. I will also be adding, I'll share with you some proven techniques to add on to what you already have. So what are you doing? You're stroking them. You're like, good cat. You're such a good cat, right? And let me put this leash on you. So facilitation is a very powerful technique where you recognize their experiences. You don't say that they know nothing. You don't say leave it outside the door. No, we say bring it in. Bring your experiences in because it will help everyone to learn at the same time. Okay? Thank you for your question. Anyone else questions? Okay. So let me share with you, with the time that we have left, what are some simple activities that we can do online without needing to have third-party software, okay? Without needing to actually go to another website. All right, everyone look at the webcam right now. Look at me. I have a request of you. Your fingers, I want you to park it onto the keyboard. I want you to be ready to type into the text chat, okay? I cannot see whether you're doing it or not, but I will know by how fast you type into the text chat. I'm going to show you a picture. And as soon as you see that picture, I want you to type in. Oh, Tina, I apologize up front. I want you to type in your first thought. When you see the picture, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Ready? Here we go. Type. All right. So does anybody know who this is? I'm not going to assume everyone knows it. Does anybody know who this is? Type in his name. Yes, he's a prince, but who is he? Tina says no picture. That's interesting. Everyone else sees the picture already. Yes, it is Prince William. Now, second question is, how many people have seen this photo before? Yes or no? How many people have seen this photo before? All right. For those people who have seen it before, what has happened is, if we talk about critical thinking, they have enough information to decide on the context and the meaning of this picture. For those people who have never seen this photo, oh, that's interesting. How many people cannot see this photo? Please type in me. How many people cannot see this photo? Please type in me. Tina, you're the only one who cannot see the slides. Is that correct? How long have you not been able to see the slides? Are you on your phone, Tina? We have been going through slides for iPad. Okay, try and scroll left or right. Try and scroll left or right on your iPad. Do you see it now?
No, it's not. It won't scroll.
Oh, okay. I have no experience with iPads. I apologize. Do you have a laptop that you can go on?
No, unfortunately, I can't get on Zoom on my laptop.
So I apologize for this. We are recording the session, so you'll be able to watch it a bit later. I apologize, Tina, for this. This is a photo of Prince William, who is showing a middle finger. Have you seen that photo before?
No.
No. Okay. So for everyone else, this is the same person from a different angle. Tell me in the text chat, what do you think about that? Tell me in the text chat now, what do you think about that? Prom says, okay. Is it only okay? Chandra says, ooh. He agrees. So tell me what you can learn from seeing these two photos. What they says, don't judge. Thank you. What else? Priscilla says you need context and a full perspective. Good. What else? What you see is not what you get. Thank you. Last one, please. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't judge without clear information. Well done. So with only a slide, I'm using just a slide and 2 photos, we can have a very simple activity. You don't actually need software. You don't actually need a lot of things there. Don't judge without clear information. That's it. Okay, let's try one more. Everybody grab a piece of paper and a pencil or pen, please. And when you have that, type in ready. Pen and paper. When you have that, type in ready. Very cool, very cool. Okay, looks like everyone's ready. I want you to draw this scribble on that paper. Draw this scribble on that piece of paper, and when you're done, type in done. It's a simple one. Okay, I'm going to give you 45 seconds. No, because you're smart, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. In 30 seconds, I want you to add on details. Keep adding on to this drawing until it becomes a different picture. Okay, 30 seconds, start now. Don't draw on my slide, draw on your piece of paper. 30 seconds, go. Add on more details to this drawing so that it becomes a different picture. When you are done, type in yes. 10 seconds to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. This is a creativity test. It tests your creativity right now. It's taking a snapshot. It doesn't tell you whether you're a creative person or not. That's impossible. But it takes a snapshot right now at 9:58 in the morning. Your creativity level is at this level. So here's how you grade yourself, right? If you drew a bird of any species, whether it be a duck or flying bird or a chicken, whatever it is, I don't care, give yourself 1 star. If it's a bird of any species, give yourself 1 star. Yeah, just write a star next to the bird. Or if you drew a face with a hat, a man's face wearing a hat, also give yourself 1 star. Okay. Now, if you drew something other than a bird or a man with a hat, give yourselves 2 stars. Cool? Last one. If you added on so much detail, or the way you drew it makes the original line disappear, you can't actually see where the original line is, give yourselves 3 stars. Now, who has 3 stars? But if I draw a Hummer, what is a Hummer? A Hummer as in the car, a Hummer? Can you see the original line? Actual Hummer. You drew an actual Hummer. I take 4 stars. Take it all. All right. So here's my prediction, right? And it could be right, could be wrong, just for fun. Those who who got 1 star are probably multitasking. While they're in this webinar, they're also checking their phones. They're also going to answering questions from their friends, things like that. Is that correct? People got 1 star? Nobody's answering. People who got 3 stars, here's my prediction. You are all alone, nobody's bothering you. You actually have quite an easy day today, and you're quite relaxed. People with 3 stars, is that correct? Somebody's drawing on my slides. You are with 2 stars. Okay, thank you very much. Let's try something else. I'm going to speed up a little bit and go straight to a simple activity here. What I want you to do is, I want you to type into the text chat all of the words that you can find in this slide. All of the words you can find in this slide. You have 30 seconds, ready, set, go. Somebody saw tree. Where's tree? $20 seconds to go. Store. Lamp. Where do you see lamp? Tell me the words. Vote. I've seen 3 times already, still fun. Vote, you keep coming back to this. Okay, time is up. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we missed. Anybody get book? Anybody get story? Words, pages, novel, and read? Anyone? So I don't think anyone got book. I didn't see anyone get novel. I didn't see anyone get, oh, somebody got read. All right. So that was a good starting point. Let's try something else. Ready? You have 20 seconds to find these words. Set, go. Puddle? What's a puddle? Puddle, wet, storm, showers, umbrella. I don't see umbrella. We're looking for the words. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's see what we got. Clouds. Anybody get clouds? You see, if you're on your phone or you're on a small tablet, you won't be able to see that. But the benefit of being on a tablet is you can zoom in. And you got stormy. Not storm, but stormy. Puddle. We got wet. We got showers. Did anybody get damp? Okay. Let's close off today with one last one, just for the fun of it. Ready? You have 10 seconds. Go. Hey, Tina, you can see the slides now. Snow? Is there snow here? Lilybell, what is that? All right, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Well done. Actually, finally. We have frost. We have ice. We have mittens. Nobody got mittens. We got snow. Everyone got snow. We got boots. And we got chill. Okay. So, let me just go over this and say this has been a very high-level overview. I wanted to show you how it was like without even needing a lot of technology. But before we end, I would like to ask for more questions. So what questions do you have that I did not cover that I will answer now? So what would you like to know that I have not covered or I have not answered satisfactorily? If it takes too long and other people have things to do, places to go, then we can stay after. We'll stop the recording, but we'll stay after. So please ask your questions now or type in N for Nadzrin. If you have no questions, type in N for Nadzrin. Okay, anyone else? I don't see a lot of N's, which means you are either not at your laptop or you have questions that you're typing in. Yes, thank you for that, Tina. All right, so we have 3 N's so far. Anyone else? If you have no questions, give me an N. If you do have questions, ask me now. All righty then. So my last request from you is tell me what is the one thing that you've learned in this last 1 hour that you can take home? I know that a lot of you go, I know this, I know this, I know this. Oh, this is interesting. I did not know this. So please share with us what is your one takeaway, because then everyone will get to see it and they get to learn from you as well. So Sophia says type of tool in term, yep. So there's 4 types of tools that I recommend you use. A video conferencing tool, a material repository, an engagement tool, and a Q&A tool. If you miss one of these, then the session becomes a bit more difficult to manage. Prompt says critical thinking method, okay. Priscilla says creative activities to engage audience and keep them interacting. Now, today's I purposely chose very, some childish ones, just to prove a point that it can be done. When you're doing something technical, some of my friends have used word puzzles or crossword puzzles to find the words that are related to the subject matter, like persuasion, convincing, influencing. So you find that in there. Okay, 3 T's. Sopamolex says engagement material. Putira says call to action during training for engagement purpose. Yes, that has to happen to get them excited. Lina says, how can we find such interesting technique? I can give you some suggestions, but most of these techniques are what you already use. If you are a trainer or a teacher or lecturer, you already use this in class, so you just need to transition them online. But here's one thing. Okay, let me type into the text chat. This is a website called playmio.com. Playmio.com has a lot of interactive activities you can run online in a virtual class. If you sign up, you have to pay. It's expensive. But if you use the free version, there's more than enough activities there. So Lina, if you're interested, you can use those. Tepi says preparing students in advance before starting class. Yes. When I first learned this from my teachers, I was like, oh, this is so difficult, so boring to be able to do this before class. But then I started experimenting and I found, yep, I should have listened to my teachers, should have listened to my trainers. It works very, very well. It prepares them, it gets them engaged before we start. Tina says use creative use of chat. Yes, because the chat, what I wanted to prove was with minimal tools, with non-colorful, just silly tools, you can actually get engagement. Prompt says we have some time to talk about how to use whiteboard on Zoom. Well, the challenge is, of course, if you are on Zoom right now and we don't allow you to share, you will not be able to share the whiteboard. But if you look at mine, let's just say I stop share, right? But I cannot show you. Let's see if I can actually. I can show you my screen. So, hang on a sec. Let's try that again. Okay, bear with me guys, because this is a technical question. Aha. So tell me if you can see my screen. And the screen should have everyone there. Okay, I don't know what's happened. Let's try that again. Oh, portion of screen. Okay, it's not working for me right now. So you will find some tech issues. Tell you what. If you want to learn how to use the whiteboard on Zoom, there are a lot of tutorials there, but basically on your menu, when you see the button mute, video, participants, chat, there should be a button called share screen. Can you see that button? Yes, okay. So if you click on share screen, you should have an option that says whiteboard. Okay, so here's a better way, because we're holding a lot of people. I recommend that you actually Google, you go to YouTube, and there are a lot of Zoom walkthroughs that show you how to use the whiteboard. Okay, so hope that helps. Let's see other questions. Yes, somebody says hello.
Nadzrin, if Mr. Prom can stay until the end of the session, I can show him a little bit before he leaves the session after we complete all the feedback. I can
Okay.
show him, yeah.
Thank you very much. So I'm just going to go through last two questions. Priscilla says, if you have small enough class, 6 to 10, is it ever appropriate to encourage people to interact? Yes. If you have a small class of under 10, I usually like to have everyone turn on their webcams and we have a voice conversation. So yes, but even in large classes, I sometimes get them to turn on their microphone and share elucidation on their answers. So if they type in an interesting answer into the text chat, I said, that's a really good answer, Priscilla. Would you turn on your microphone in about 1 minute and share with us a bit more about your answer? So notice what I did. I give Priscilla a time limit of 1 minute to prepare. Not, Lilybeth, can you turn on your microphone? And Lilybeth panics. What? No. You give them a time limit to prepare so they're not shocked. And you say, well, Priscilla, while you're preparing, let me explain this a little bit more. And after 1 minute, you come back to Priscilla and say, so are you ready to share? So yes, the answer is yes. I sometimes like to do that as well. Okay, Lina says, before you close, can you show me the slide about material? I don't know what that means. Are you saying that you want the slides themselves? We do send the slides out to everyone and we do send the recording. Is that correct, Maradi?
Yeah, we will send the record and the slide to home complete our feedback.
Okay, thank you. Lina asked, how many students should be in a virtual class? Well, depending on what level of competency you want to get them to. If it's awareness, which is the simplest competency, you can go up to 500,000 and GoToWebinar does that. 500,000, I've seen Tony Robbins, this neuro-linguistic programming expert in the US, he's done a 500,000 people webinar. But that only gets you to awareness. When you want to do facilitation, then it has to be a smaller number, about 24 and below. When you want to do teaching and you want to make sure that they fully understand, then even smaller. If you want to do skill session, where you actually get to monitor their skills, then 7 and below, right? So the answer is, if you want to have a large group, then don't do it on the virtual class if you still want to get them to skills. Give them a lot of assignments so you can check them individually. The problem with virtual class, which is what we're doing right now, virtual class, you cannot assess them individually. So if you're asking, if you want to assess them individually and you still do virtual class, 7 and below. So you get to pay attention to everyone. But if you're running a skills class and you still need to have like 40 people in the room, then do not use the virtual class as the assessment. Give them assignments to do where you can check one by one what their level is. Do personal coaching, do personal Q&As. So then you can have more one-on-one time. I hope that answers the question. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. It is 10:13. We've gone over by 30 minutes. I'm going to pass this back to Maradi.